Hello, everybody, and welcome to the third episode of the Idiots Unmuted podcast. We're your hosts, Z and Log, and today we're going to be doing, since we're all warmed up to this channel, we're going to be doing a fun prompt. I was thinking about things to do in this podcast, and one day I was talking to my friend and saying, hey, what do you think would be a good idea for a podcast? Go. And he's like, I don't know. And I'm like, let me list something off the top of my head. Wacky. What if food came to life, became monsters? And if they did, what would be the most deadly, the least deadly, and what would be the best to have on your side as an ally? Like, almost like, Pokemon training, but with with foods.
Let's go Philly cheesesteak, and you throw it out, and then just a Philly cheesesteak comes out,
Although the new, ecosystem of the world adapts to the food animals. So, you can tame them, but it's, as hard as it would be to tame animals.
I like to think that they don't have any, features. It's just a burger on the ground that, floats around.
No. We can make them monsters. Although, that would be, we should have, a certain one that does that. It just, retains its original form, but just floats, hovers over the ground.
It has to be a cheeseburger.
Okay, fine. The cheeseburger hovers over the ground. It would look
so tough. It looks so tough. And it could shoot ketchup out at you, flamethrower, the lettuce could be like shurikens, ninja stuff. The onion, that could be, I don't know.
Onion could have some crazy effects. If it was a monster onion, it makes you cry, it could blind you.
Onion would be crazy because
onion itself.
I don't have any issue with cutting onion, but I know a lot of people, they start cutting it and they're like, oh my god, my eyes, they burn. And then
ooh,
onion could low-key be deadly as a monster.
I feel it could be okay, so you're walking around in these patches and it's high grass and you're walking you're trying to evade because onions are kind of landmines there. And if you step even bump into an onion, it blooms up and all the layers it's big, almost as big, as tall as a young child, 4 feet tall. It blooms up out of the ground, all the layers spread out, and it releases these spores that spray at you and blinds you like a pepper spray that's 10 times
hazard
worse.
Suit just to walk near one.
Exactly, and then once it you're blinded and you can't see, it will the layers will wrap around you almost like a face of a demogorgon and then pull you into the ground. That would be scary.
Onion mines, holy crap.
Yeah, the onion fields. Beware of the onion fields. And it's just if you step foot in them and you there's a 99%.
Will be used in war. The most devastating.
Used in the war. Oh my gosh, World War with these foods would be insane.
Devastating consequences with the onion mines.
The onion mines. What else would be crazy? In tropical areas, durians. Now I know not a lot of you have heard of durians.
What is a durian? I have no clue what that is.
Okay, so a durian is this big fruit. It's one of the biggest fruits in the world, second to jackfruit. And it's this huge, spiky, cannonball-sized fruit that smells like rotting flesh. Now, I've never actually smelled a durian or seen a durian, but they are said to be the worst smelling fruit. They are heavy. Durian farmers, they have to have these burlap sacks, They cut durians out of trees, and then they have to catch the durian at precise timing, swinging the bag up, and then the durian hits the bag, it goes between their legs and sounds like a gunshot. If a durian falls out of the tree, you are immediately dead.
It's like a thwomp from Mario.
Yeah, like a thwomp. So think of that as a monster. I'm thinking one of those dinosaurs that have that big club on their tails, but a durian, and it could throw it at you at high velocity.
For a durian, I have no clue what it is. We'll put a photo up on screen, but
yeah. And make sure to put the video of the durian farmers up there because it's absolutely insane.
But Loki, as I said, a thwomp from Mario that just comes down and squishes you like an ant. Those cartoons, with the anvil falling down on the cartoon character. That's what I imagine.
Imagine if they're tree spiders. Imagine they're spiders that crawl around in the trees, and then when they see prey, they just curl up and fall onto it until they're carnivorous. So they fall into prey. They crush its skull because they're like so heavy, and the spikes like they do damage. And then whatever's left of it, they just feed off of, and then they climb back into trees.
That'd be crazy.
Oh my gosh, that would be so scary, dude. I would never go to anywhere tropical.
Oh no, me neither. I would never do that. I would never go to a
potatoes.
Potatoes.
Think about like potatoes if they came to life. Like what would happen? Because potatoes are like they're like very versatile. They can like for
so many people use them. So many people eat them. They're like the most common like maybe besides maybe like bread, you know, a common like thing. So for one thing, we'd lose our food source.
Yeah, potatoes are a huge food source for so many different things.
Yeah, and then I feel like they would either be like really chill. I feel like they'd be kind of like, you know, the equivalent of like a cow, so we can still farm them, like Minecraft. But
wait, actually, that's a good idea. There are, yeah.
But I don't know though. Like if they become like monsters, as we've been saying, we'd all just die. The potatoes. Yeah. There's so many potatoes.
There are so many different species. You could like mashed potatoes would be harmful. Like potato wedges would be harmful. French fries would be harmful. Like baked potatoes.
I couldn't live my life without French fries. So like.
Me too. That would be tragic.
No, and French fries. I feel like it'd be like a bunch of little swords.
Yeah, or like these, like almost like a blow dart, but like French fries. So they like.
But there's different types of like.
Yeah. Fries. Waffle fries could be like blades.
Or like a shield.
Yeah, or a shield. You could, you know, these animals now that they're food animals, we could use them not only as food, but we can use their anatomy to make even more resources, which would be crazy. Like like think of Native Americans using every part of like a bison. Like we could be so resourceful with these since they're not really farmable unless some of them are. Like I feel like some of them would be docile, but a lot of them would be hostile, especially knowing that humans have been eating them for like literally the entire time they've been on the planet.
I feel like there'd be some kind of like foods that are like more docile and like, you know how in like ancient times, you know, they used hide as armor. We could use the animals or like the creatures that are now foods as armor, and I could look like a knight made out of like, I don't know, lettuce.
Pineapple skin. Did you know pineapple skin is flame resistant? Like it's fireproof.
Oh no, I saw a video on that. Yeah.
Yeah. So if we made like but pineapple monsters would be terrible, bro. They would be awful. Did you know that pineapples, why they sting your mouth when you eat them, is because they have these tiny little crystals, like made of something inside them. So the crystals spike into your mouth. Like that would be. If their flesh could attack you, it could hurt you with those little crystal things. They're spiky, and their leaves, most of all, will be so painful.
Oof. We're dying from the pineapples then.
But if we kill the pineapple somehow, we could use its hide as a flame-resistant armor. Yeah.
That's like you know, like any like you know, the top tier like armor in like a Skyrim.
Yeah.
Let's get some enchants. Can ketchup be like an enchantment?
We could get a pineapple. What would be a good sauce to really up the pineapple game?
Oh, bro.
Like sriracha sauce. Not only is it flame resistant, it is flaming armor. Garlic powder. Now we gotta think of processed foods. Processed food? Spaghetti and meatballs? That'd be terrible. Jello? That'd be
like
terrible.
A squid, bro. A squid. No, like spaghetti and meatballs, like I'd imagine that as like, you know, like a squid kind of creature.
Yeah.
And something like that, it would look really weird. And it honestly like look gross to look at.
Yeah, and it would use like its friction on the ground to like use the spaghetti sauce as a friction to like do a squid-like motion on land. And I feel like different pastas would be really crazy. Unless you like pour hot water on them, some of the hot like pastas would get weaker, but some of them would get stronger. So like spaghetti and Alfredo, putting hot water on them will make them much stronger. Even though spaghetti could use itself as javelins unboiled, but boiled it could use itself as
throw tentacles. The meatballs at us, you know, like a little
exactly.
Like catapult.
Yeah.
I think another like dangerous one would be like what was it? Like a pear, because those are hard to like bite into.
Yeah.
Like Loki, if you enjoy a pear, I don't know how you're real. Because
I remember in my old house, pears used to be in their prime. I don't know what happened to them. They were so juicy. They were so good. They were so soft. But now every single pear I've had for the last 10 years has been chalky. Every time I bite into it, it's chalky. It's bitter. And I'm like, what happened to my beautiful pears?
Maybe
the
it's
fall off
maybe
of
it's because
pears
I like
needs to
get
be
the
studied.
maybe it's because I get like the ones at the school like lunch line.
Ugh, school cafeteria pears.
But I haven't had an actual pear in so long, and the first time I did it, I was like, this is chalky, this is bitter, like what you said, and I was like, this is low-key terrible. Like, I hate this, bro.
But speaking of this, what would happen if the food rotted?
Food rotted?
Like, if all these food creatures came to life, and then once they were, like, they could get a sickness that makes them rot. So they don't rot naturally anymore. But if they start to rot, what would that look like? Would they be more vulnerable? Would they be, like...
Probably more vulnerable because, you know, they're more soft tissue and stuff like that.
Yeah, like, think about bananas.
It's like getting cancer, basically.
Yeah.
Or it's like their body decomposing. It's like zombie apocalypse, but with, like, pears, you know, as we said.
That'd be crazy.
Pears basically already taste like what I think a zombie, like, it's like... Tastes terrible. And so, like, yeah, I feel like rotting would just be like just death, basically. Like,
yeah,
like a pear would, you know, if like, or like whatever, an apple, let's say, if it died, you know, started rotting, that's, you know, decomposing, you know, like how a body decomposes, but instead, you know, a fruit or a vegetable.
Yeah, but think about stuff like soup. Like, I feel like there would be like soup
get moldy
geysers. There would be like
soup like geysers
instead of like having them like roam around the streets is like soup. Like, there's like these geyser fields of soup, and if you go near them, like it's heavily restricted, because if you go near them, the ingredients of the soup could lure you in, and then you get boiled with the soup, and then it just decomposes your body, and that's how it feeds.
That is true, but like
a living liquid.
What if it's like Campbell's, you know, like stars and soup, bro? Like, I'd want that. I would love to eat out of that geyser. I'd go on top of the geyser and just open my mouth and just wait for it.
Immediately get boiled alive.
You know, it might be worth it because it might taste good.
Yeah.
It just might. Maybe it's just burning my taste buds away, but you know.
What about candy? What do you think about candy? Like, if candy came to life as well, like, I feel like marshmallows, you would think they're not harmful, and they might be a docile, but if they're not...
I feel like you'd punch it and just, like, it'd squish around your hand.
Yeah, it's like trying to punch something in a dream, because marshmallows would just be, like, a pillow that just, like, just suffocate you.
I would really like to lay on a giant marshmallow.
That would be so cool, but at the same time, if they're not docile animals, like, we're dead. We're all dead. I think gummy bears, would they be ferocious as bears, or would they just look the exact same and like kind of do nothing?
I feel like they'd look exactly like gummy bears, but they'd act like bears.
Would we be able to just like, they think they're all ferocious and then we just tear a piece of them out and eat it in front of them?
Yeah.
Like, could they be
but I like to think that they act like bears, but they're still the same size as the little gummy bears.
Wait, that would actually be... That would be terrible.
Wait! I just thought of something. You've seen all the Sour Patch commercials, right?
Yeah.
They're a food. They'll become a society.
Oh my gosh! They will become a society. The Sour Patch Society. They'll wreak havoc. Because in the commercials, they're always wreaking havoc, and they're like, first they're sour, then they're sweet. But what if they never got sweet?
Gummy worms. They'll act like worms.
Well, think. What if they actually were? Like, what if they were first sour, then sweet? Like, they did terrible things, but for good causes. Like, they would do bad things, but it was like for the greater good. Like, they're a higher...
This is like some Gru Despicable Me villain crap.
Literally, but like, what if they're a higher power that knows the greater good, and they know everything that's good?
They speak to God and they know what they're doing.
They know what's good, but the only way they could do the good things
is by destroying humanity.
Exactly, it's the only way they can do the good thing.
Sour Patch World Order.
The Sour Patch World Order. The only thing first they're sour because they're sweet. They're sour because they're sweet. That's their slogan. And then they like do awful things, but if they know, like, they have this foresight that they're like, we know what will happen to the human race if this happens. And then they have to like do all these terrible things that we think are terrorism, and we try to fight back, but they're like, don't fight back, this will be for the best. But we don't believe them.
Oh, that'd be crazy. Yeah, the Sour Patch Kids would be like the weirdest. Yeah, because they'd be a society, no doubt, and they'd wreak havoc. But like, what are some other foods, like candies or anything that are, like those, like, those little gummy sharks?
Yeah. Oh, those are. They just bro out with normal sharks. Like they just become
normal sharks. Like, I feel like there'd be so many new aquatic animals.
Yeah. What about like Michelin star things and creative foods that are being cooked? Like really unique recipes. Like, think like a beef Wellington and like those kind of things that are really processed by humans and made by recipes. What would that be like? Because we're thinking of all like kind of base things right now. Like the furthest we've gone is spaghetti and meatballs as a food. But what if we're thinking like crazy foods with a bunch of different ingredients, spices, like a gumbo, like all the shrimp in the gumbo and stuff?
They'd be like top of the world like food chain, because I mean, like, they have like, I feel like each thing is like an ability. You know how I was talking about like the burger with like all the different abilities back earlier?
Yeah.
It'd be kind of like that, The beef Wellington, I don't really remember. I don't know what's on a beef Wellington. I forgot.
It's like a steak. I don't know what kind of cut. Like surrounded in like this chopped up mushrooms and stuff like that, and then surrounded in this puff pastry, like a pastry. It would be like an armored creature. Like I feel like it would be armored. And the more burnt it is, like the harder it is to kill, because of its armor, pastry armor.
Or the decorations and like the more sophisticated like foods. Because there's a difference between like, there's different types of steaks, what? Like, so maybe, like, depending on, like, what kind of steak it is, it could be, like, royalty, they make society.
Yeah, the society of each food. That would be crazy.
Because, each food coming like and being monsters is one thing, but, like, what if this is kind of back to, like, our first episode about, like, the bugs and the animals, is, like, what if they are, rather than just being monsters and, like, just ravage animals, what if some of them are, like, actually have some kind of intelligence? It could be very basic. It could be just, like, basically caveman. But, is there some kind of, like, survive? Like, what do they do to survive? Like, I mean, they're food for, like, our normal animals still exist, so, they're probably going to be hunted by those. Those normal animals. So they're always, like, in a threat to be, like, killed.
I feel like the harder the food is to create for human recipes, the either more abilities it has and the harder it is to defeat, or the more intelligence it has. So, say like a beef Wellington would be this like a bison, like the bison of the food world. Like it's just this big unit of food. But then like think like these really fancy dishes, like sushi. Like sushi could become like a dragon. Like a mythical creature would be like sushi, because it'd be like this long roll with all these different aspects of it, and it'd become this mythical, like, that would be sick. Like, and also, what if each food, depending on its culture, like, it adapts to its culture? So Chinese food would be very similar to Chinese culture, and American food would be very American, and like, it's like,
what even is American food? Because like all of our food is like, it's like turkey.
Well, we got fried chicken. That's a big staple here, even though that's also a really polarized on in other countries. A lot of frying stuff. We've got like hamburgers. We got cheeseburgers.
Hamburgers are from Germany.
I know that this is true, yeah, but the way we present it is very American. I know the way, like, there are just American ways to present food. So like, whereas Italy and other European places foraged and pioneered pizza, Americans have put it into their culture in certain places, like New York. It. So each food could have traits according to its place. So like,
we have a war between Chicago style pizza and New York style pizza.
Yeah, and then New York style pizza versus a real Sicilian deep dish from Italy. Yeah. So each food has culture and races of food. Like, what if race? Okay, I'm gonna withhold from saying what I was about to say. Okay. But yeah, just what if there was foods that didn't like other variants of their own kind very much? That would be
Okay.
that
This is getting a little too badass. So,
no, that would be. I don't know if foods would be like that because I don't know if they'll have the knowledge. I feel like Sour Patch Kids would though.
Sour Patch. You
They
have
would
you
have
seen the band
big
ad?
sense of superiority.
Have you seen the band ad? Sour Patch Kid ad. Okay then. Well, if you guys are curious, to search up like band Sour Patch Kid ad. It's really
Like-
cool.
Did you say band or ban?
Band.
Like BANNED?
Yeah, it was unaired. I mean, it was unaired.
Oh, unaired. Yeah. Taken off. So it was a band ad, a forgotten Sour Patch
Well,
Kids
yeah.
ad.
I don't know if they ever did actually present it, but you can find it. And it's really cool, honestly. And so that's kind of what the Sour Patch Kids. They're gonna be a little cool.
I feel like they'd have a really big sense of superiority. So would like foods that are usually served to royals, like royalty.
Oh
food.
yeah, royalty. Like that pizza that like costs like $10,000. Oh, they would have
Yeah.
such a crazy.
I have gold leafs on me, but like gold leaf just it doesn't do anything. Like gold leaf literally does nothing for them because it doesn't really do anything for modern day food. And gold leaf is actually relatively cheap. It just makes it look crazy, so people pay so much more for it.
Mm-hmm. Like I feel like another good food would be like like that would be think it's like better than everyone else. It's just like any of those like really kind of like beef Wellington, but like expensive like steaks or expensive meats
Yeah.
that are very.
Imagine caviar, like known as
caviar! No, how would it work? Would it be like an orb and like all the caviar is like floating around it?
It'd be like this orb. They think they're like all that, but then they get outbeaten by some like random food from a different like culture that's like this crazy delicacy.
Yeah, like I just feel like overall like all the foods like it just kind of depends on what they are, but some of them would just be so much more dangerous than the others.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So I think overall, we didn't even talk about the allied part. But anyway, I think overall, there are some crazy foods that would make this world a completely different place. Either docile, harmful, or creating their own hierarchies. But overall, I think it's a great idea to think about. Would we want it in real life? Definitely not. That would be the world would be overtaken. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Well,
we're glad
actually, before we end it,
Ooh.
let's do a little thing. What would you want as your ally?
what I want as my ally, probably Sour Patch Kids. if they're doing what we're saying they're doing, I would want Sour Patch Kids as my ally. Because think about the armies; they would have.
I want the caviar orb.
The caviar orb. Okay. So anyway, yeah, thank you guys for tuning in for this episode of Idiots Unmuted Podcast. We hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye bye.
What the fuck?